Yo, what's up everybody, it's me, That Weep here, back with part 13 slash the finale for What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct. If you guys have not watched the previous parts, make sure to go up here in the top right hand corner and click the playlist so you can catch up and then come back to this video. Anyway, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel as well as hit the like button while you're down there. Comment down below how you're doing or how the video was. And enough of that, let's just get into the finale for What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct. Quick recap from last time, since it's been a while for those of you who've been watching the series but haven't really seen the last episode since it's been 2 months. But anyway, last time Sasuke was given one of Nagato's Rinnegan as a gift from Nagato in order to give Sasuke a helping hand in building that new future he had talked to him about. Sasuke is now heading on his way towards the Land of Iron to confront his brother Itachi Uchiha and putting the Uchiha clan to rest once and for all. Remember in this timeline that Sasuke does not know about Danzo or Itachi's mission to protect the leaf, so he thinks that Itachi had abandoned the village and killed his entire clan, so he doesn't see Itachi as a hero. Meanwhile, Danzo and his Anbu Black Ops would be following close behind Sasuke, and Sasuke wouldn't be using his dojutsu, so he wouldn't be noticing them, and he doesn't have Sage Mode activated for obvious reasons as well. Also, Sasuke, notably in this timeline, has Falcon Sage Mode, meaning that he actually has Senjutsu, so that's a big difference as well in going into this fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we see Naruto, Kakashi, and Yamato all also heading on their way to the Land of Iron, with Naruto and Yamato having been assigned to be Kakashi's bodyguards. Naruto having earned the trust of the villagers, having been known as a monster from a young age due to his ultra instinct, his creepily calm demeanor as well as his just emotionless actions in general would have been one of the things in this timeline that have caused Naruto pain, since he couldn't feel anything. So at a young age, he was much more similar to Sai than we would have seen in the original. Naruto, Kakashi, and Yamato are on their way to the Land of Iron to meet at the 5 Kage Summit. This would have been called on by the Raikage, who would still be looking for B, since B would be missing after the attack from the Taka, this time minus Sasuke, but as I mentioned last time, Kisame would actually have gone instead. But I'll digress. Enough of the recap, let's get into the actual story itself, starting off from Sasuke's side of things. Sasuke continues to travel through the forest, with about a day left of travel to get to the Land of Iron, to where he's supposed to confront his brother, Itachi, according to what Konan had told him. The Akatsuki's leader had assigned Itachi with a special mission. He was sent to go to the Land of Iron. Apparently in a few days they'd be holding a 5 Kage Summit, and the leader of the Akatsuki wanted something from it specifically. Both Itachi as well as Konan's words would ring inside of Sasuke's head, as he thinks about the battle to come. Another side effect of what I should mention is that in this timeline, since Itachi's actually been alive slightly longer than he would have been in the original, Itachi's illness is actually a bit worse as well. So Itachi is a bit more weakened than he had been when he had originally fought Sasuke, which kind of sucks, but it makes more sense because the time gap and Itachi's rapid decrease in health from that disease that couldn't be cured. Anyhow, Danzo and his Anbu Black Ops would be following Sasuke close behind, and Sasuke hasn't noticed them yet, but that would change soon. Sasuke would make camp for the night as he finds something to eat, with him then sleeping the night and then waking up early the next morning, knowing that today would be the day. Naruto and Kakashi and Yamato would leave actually this morning today, when Sasuke was just about to reach the Land of Iron. As Sasuke arrives at the place where the 5 Kage Summit is supposed to be held, he would eventually find someone waiting for him there. And that would be a figure with red clouds on their cloak, the black robe covering their body. As Sasuke would activate his Sharingan as he looks into the eyes, peering into them, directly of Itachi Uchiha. "Ah, so you've come, Sasuke." Sasuke would say nothing as he looks into his older brother's eyes. Itachi would then ask Sasuke a simple question. "Have you attained enough hatred, Sasuke? Has your power grown?" Sasuke would grit his teeth as he realizes, remembering in his head the promise he made to Naruto that he wouldn't fight on the path of revenge. Sasuke would smile as he looks at Itachi, saying that the Uchiha are long dead and nothing can change that. Killing you here won't bring them back, but it will avenge them, Sasuke would say. "Let's get this over with," Sasuke would say as he closes his eyes, entering into Sage Mode. As he opens them, having obtained enough sufficient nature energy, Itachi would be impressed, saying that he's already mastered that skill. But has he mastered the ability he told him he needed? The power of the Mangekyo Sharingan? Sasuke would smirk, saying he doesn't need it, as he pulled back his hair to reveal his other eye. Itachi would be shocked as he sees that Sasuke has acquired a Rinnegan. Sasuke's other eye would only be on the 3 Tomoe though, but the Rinnegan would definitely even out the fight. So in this version we have Falcon Sage Mode, 3 Tomoe Sharingan plus Rinnegan Sasuke versus weakened Mangekyo Sharingan Itachi. And now, the fight would begin, as Sasuke make the first move. Almighty Pull! As Sasuke holds his hand out, pulling towards Itachi, Itachi's body would suddenly begin to move towards Sasuke at a fast speed. Itachi would activate his Mangekyo Sharingan as he's flying towards Sasuke. Amaterasu! As Sasuke would watch as the Amaterasu is about to be revealed to him, Sasuke would then use his other ability, the Rinnegan, holding out his other hand. I'll be taking your chakra. As the Amaterasu hits Sasuke, Sasuke would use the Rinnegan's power to completely absorb it, rendering it useless. Itachi would already be breathing heavily, as he'd used chakra on that and had been pulled by the Rinnegan's attack. Wow, Itachi would be thinking in his head. Sasuke is so strong now. Look at him. But I'm not going down that easily, he would say. Itachi would activate his Susanoo, something that Sasuke had not seen at this point. What is that? He'd be thinking as he sees the orange skeletal figure beginning to form around Itachi's body. Sasuke would move forward at blinding speed, the increased strength and speed from Sage Mode definitely helping. As Sasuke would use his Rinnegan and Sage Mode combined to make it appear as though he was flying. Almighty Push. As Itachi throws the attack, Sasuke would use the Almighty Push on himself against the ground as he goes flying up into the air. As he comes landing down, he would then use his Falcon attack that he had learned from the Falcons. Air Strike. As Sasuke comes down, he would activate some lightning, creating the Chidori, as he strikes down using Sage Mode's power, and putting some Senjutsu into the Chidori. Sasuke's Chidori would crack one of the Susanoo's ribs, as Itachi would be shocked. That Sage energy sure is powerful. Itachi wouldn't have time to think though, as he would then swing the Kotsuka blade towards Sasuke. Sasuke would say, I thought I told you already. I'm not the same little kid anymore, Itachi. You sparing me was the biggest mistake of your life. Almighty Push. As Sasuke would then again use the Rinnegan's power, he would begin to feel the chakra drain, realizing exactly how much chakra Nagato must have been using with this Rinnegan. Nagato's sure lucky that he's an Uzumaki. Without that large of a chakra pool, he could never have used that many attacks against Naruto when he was going all out against him. As the Almighty Push would cause the Totsuka blade to swing backwards, slamming into Itachi's own Susanoo, cutting it in half. Itachi began to fall to the ground and stagger, as Sasuke would take the opportunity and he rushes forward, saying, This is the end, Itachi. Itachi would look up as he coughs up blood, seeing his younger brother as a young kid again, running forward, saying, Big brother, please train with me. I want to learn the Shuriken Jutsu like you and father. As Itachi recalls these memories, he has no idea why, as he begins to cry. Sasuke would stop moving forward just as he's about to pierce Itachi in the heart with the Chidori. What? Why are you... Sasuke would be watching, as Danzo and his troops would be watching the fight from afar. Danzo would say this might be a good time to take Itachi's eyes, and Sasuke's as well now that Itachi's done for. As Itachi's about to fall to the ground, passing out, Itachi would laugh as his tears streamed down his face, telling Sasuke that the one thing he's always wanted to tell him, I have always loved. As Sasuke is about to hear these words, his pupils would flicker, but the moment that Itachi is about to finish his sentence, suddenly a shot to the heart. Itachi would cough up blood for the last time, as his eyes begin to fade, his Sharingan deactivating as he slumps over to the ground. Sasuke would turn around, sensing using Sage Mode, and realizing immediately where the shot came from. While Sasuke had been distracted by Itachi's words, Itachi's life would have been taken before his very eyes. And this is what would cause the reaction to awaken. The awakening of Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke now with the Rinnegan, Mangekyo Sharingan, and Falcon's Sage Mode would stand up as he puts Itachi's body to the ground. I hated him for so long. My dream, the path I walked down, was all for this moment, to see his corpse lying on the ground. But why do I feel so empty? You stole it from me, he would say, as Sasuke using his Sage Mode would have felt the energy coming from that shot, the intent to kill from the Anbu member. Sasuke looks up towards the direction from where the shot had actually come from, the jutsu that had been used from the air bullet that had killed Itachi. It's almost like his eye contact made directly with the Anbu member, who'd begin to shiver. As Sasuke would look up, his eye would fluctuate between that of the 3 Tomoe Sharingan and the Mangekyo, as it finally solidifies into the Mangekyo Sharingan. Amaterasu. Suddenly, we would hear a scream of pain as Danzo would look backwards, seeing what happened, seeing the Anbu member had been hit with Amaterasu, as his body would fall to the forest floor, burning to ash. Danzo would say, I guess it's time then, as Danzo would then step out into the open with many Anbu members. Sasuke would look at him as his eyes narrow, asking, "Who are you?" Danzo would simply begin to laugh, saying, "Thank you, Sasuke, for taking out Itachi for us. Oh, that would have been such a burden if we had to fight both of you at the same time. Now we can take all three Mangekyo Sharingan and the Rinnegan." Danzo would have a wicked smile as his eyes would have a disgusting gleam to them as he begins to unwrap his arm. "What do you mean?" Sasuke would say, as Danzo would say that he's one of the higher-ups of the Leaf, and actually he had been the one to help order Itachi to kill his entire clan, revealing all Itachi's secrets to Sasuke. He began laughing, saying that Itachi's death was meaningless, and that Sasuke just killed a hero of the Leaf who had been a spy in the Akatsuki for years, all to protect Sasuke. He had killed the entire Uchiha clan under the third in his own orders in order to defend the village. You're lying," Sasuke would say. "My brother was a monster. He needed to die. That is the right path. There's no way the Leaf would..." Sasuke would see images of Naruto telling him to come back with him, back at the final valley. "There's no way. No, that's not true." Sasuke's rage began to encompass him as a darkness would surround him. Danzo would laugh in glee, telling the Anbu members to strike, as Sasuke would scream, "That's a lie!" At this burst of emotion, Sasuke would create a new technique, utilizing the Rinnegan and his new Mangekyo Sharingan. Flame Push! Suddenly, as he uses the Almighty Push and its Amaterasu into one combined attack, this would create a wave of black flames, pushing out and burning all of the Anbu members as they get hit by the attack, being sent flying backwards into the forest, causing a raging fire in the woods. Danzo would have somehow survived the attack, as we see Danzo's arm revealed, covered in the eyes of his clan members. "Danzo!" Sasuke would shout as he tries to push forward. Danzo would move forward at blinding speed, as Sasuke would actually be able to track it this time. Sasuke with Mangekyo Sharingan has increased his visual prowess. He would track him perfectly as his eyes would lock with Danzo. As Sasuke unsheathes his sword, slashing, cutting Danzo in half, suddenly it'd be reversed as Danzo's back, alive again. Sasuke would realize that he's low on chakra and he's also taking damage. He needs to find a way to get out of here and then recuperate. Danzo would say that he won't allow him to escape, and if he does, then he'll take Itachi's eyes. Sasuke would now curse his position, as he decides he'll have to steal something from Naruto. Before he can follow through on his plan, Itachi would suddenly grab his leg, as Sasuke would turn around seeing Itachi barely clinging to life. "Wait, I can..." Sasuke would have to confirm a few things. I want you guys to remember that Sasuke is a very different person this timeline. After being with Naruto for so long and having lost at the final valley at the end, Naruto had changed him a lot, and Sasuke had gotten past a lot of his issues. So if there was an opportunity, a chance that Itachi actually wasn't the monster he always thought him to be, then he'd want to save him. That's how Sasuke is now. Sasuke is much brighter than he was in the original. And the only reason he needed to kill Itachi in this version was to get past that burden, past the path that had been blocking him for so long, the reason why he wanted to leave in the first place. Now seeing that Danzo's lies might be real, he would decide he'll have to risk it all on this, as he would then create the King of Hell, as he would grab his brother and hop inside. The two brothers began to heal, as the two would begin to recover their chakra to full strength. "Oh no, you don't!" Suddenly from the ground, 3 of Sasuke's clones would appear. Shadow clones to be precise, that Sasuke had copied the hand motion from Naruto to use. "I can't make as many as Naruto can," Sasuke would say, "but this is the best I can do to save time right now." Suddenly one of the clones used summoning as a giant falcon comes flying out, screeching as it rushes at Danzo, clawing at it with its beak and talons. Danzo would be preoccupied just long enough, as suddenly the King of Hell would disappear, as the two stand there, Itachi having thrown off his Akatsuki robe. "So you know, huh?" Itachi would say. Sasuke would nod, telling his brother that, "We can talk later. I'm going to get everything out of you. And if you try to run away, then I'll use Genjutsu and make you stay here." Sasuke would smile, seeing that his lie to make Sasuke stronger might have succeeded, but not in the way he had imagined it, as the two brothers finally stand together side by side for the first time in years. At this time, Danzo would have finished killing off Sasuke's clones he had left, as well as taking out the falcon that Sasuke had summoned. who would then be desummoned in order to escape and not die. As Itachi and Sasuke would now emerge from the King of Hell, having been fully recovered, Sasuke and Itachi would then look at each other, as the two would then fight together against Danzo. The battle will begin, as Itachi moves forward, activating his Mangekyo Sharingan, realizing that his illness has been cured. What was that? It's amazing, he would think, as he looks at Sasuke with his Rinnegan and Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi would strike first, turning into crows as he flies towards Danzo with this Genjutsu attack, causing Danzo to be forced to move back, as one of Danzo's eyes would be then used up using the Izanagi. Itachi would actually know about this technique as Danzo recovers, telling Sasuke about the Izanagi while they're battling. Sasuke would then tell Itachi to get out of the way, so Itachi would get out of the way of the attack, as Sasuke would then use Kirin. Using his Chidori as well as his Rinnegan powers, the air and temperature began to change, as Sasuke, utilizing Sage Mode, would feel the nature energy of the air. True lightning style. Kirin, with the thunderclap. As suddenly the lightning would strike down, the dragon would arise from the clouds as it then charges down towards Danzo, chomping into him with a single bite, as blood would spurt. The Izanagi would be used once again as Danzo was beginning to wheeze heavily. Realizing that he's almost out of Sharingan, Itachi and Sasuke would continue to whittle him down little by little until eventually he'd be down to his final Sharingan. Itachi, he would say in desperation, you can't do this. You work for me, you work for the village. If you truly want to fulfill your job to protect the leaf, then I can't die here. I'm going to become the next Hokage, Danzo would say. It's not up to me, Itachi would say. Sasuke already made the choice to kill you. Itachi and Sasuke would both strike, with Itachi then activating his Susanoo and striking down with the Totsuka blade, while Sasuke at the same time would enter using his Rinnegan and Sage Mode, would strike down using his sword, as the two blades clashed directly on top of Danzo, finishing him off for good. With Danzo finally dead and the Anbu members having all been disposed of, it was now just Itachi and Sasuke, both now worn down, breathing heavily, but with a smile on their faces, they took down the one who had been oppressing both them and their family for so long. Now that Danzo had let it out of the bag that Itachi was actually still an agent for the Leaf Village, Sasuke would have a lot of questions for him, and he would demand an answer. Itachi would begin to sit back down as he's breathing, realizing that his breathing is returned to normal, and it's like his illness is completely gone, which is pretty shocking considering that Itachi had gone to multiple medical ninja to try and get it fixed. So seeing that Sasuke has a healing power this potent is pretty shocking. Anyhow, Sasuke and Itachi would then have a long talk, similar to what they had in the actual series after Itachi had died and come back through the Edo Tensei. But this time, Itachi's actually still alive. Meanwhile, the distraction that Itachi had caused fighting Danzo and fighting Sasuke in the Land of Iron had actually brought several samurai to the scene. Around 13 samurai would have been sent to go and scout out the area to see what the noise and what all the explosions were coming from. And as they arrived, they would then see the red clouds that Itachi had thrown off when he was about to fight Danzo. So they knew that the Akatsuki were there. Both Itachi and Sasuke would sense them coming, so they would get out of there as fast as they could before they continued the conversation. So, why did you do it? Sasuke would ask. Itachi would then go into details. He explained to Sasuke all of what was happening between the Uchiha and the village, and that Sasuke was just a child at the time. He couldn't kill him. That's the one thing he had refused to do. The one part of his deal with Danzo and the higher-ups of the Leaf that he had wanted to maintain was the life of his younger brother. You, Sasuke. Sasuke would be shocked realizing that Itachi had actually gone against the Leaf's higher-ups, saying that Sasuke to him was worth more than a fight between the Uchiha clan and the village, which could wipe out so many lives. Sasuke would look away for a second, but he would then turn back towards Itachi, saying, "Then why? All those times, anytime I'd asked you to train me or play with me or do anything, go out in the village, you'd always be busy. Why?" Itachi would explain to Sasuke that he was always working, and that he really wanted to be there for Sasuke, but he couldn't. And anytime he or Sasuke were to do anything together, Itachi would always be sent by their father to overshadow Sasuke. But even though that was the case, Sasuke would be surprised to learn that actually their father liked Sasuke better than Itachi. "That's gotta be a lie," Sasuke would say. "Father always praised you more than anyone else in our house," he would say, with Sasuke pouting. Itachi would laugh, saying that it's true though, before he looks back towards Sasuke and says that he's changed a lot. He would have expected Sasuke to not even been wanting to listen to him, let alone heal him, and now actually want to take him back with him. Sasuke would be looking at Itachi and telling him that no matter what the leaf says, you will come back with me. This situation, Sasuke would be thinking. It's just like we see an image of Naruto talking to Sasuke at the Valley of the End before accessing his Ultra Instinct. I'll bring you back no matter what, even if I have to break every bone in your body. Itachi and Sasuke would be talking the entire time as Sasuke brings Itachi back with him, back home to the Leaf Village. You know, Itachi, you don't have to fight anymore. For me, I can defend myself now, he would say. And maybe, Sasuke would blush a little bit, maybe I can protect you as well. Itachi would smile, seeing what kind of person his brother had become, and that even without killing him, this rage that he had wanted Sasuke to have, this power he'd been trying to get Sasuke to be strong enough to attain, he gained it himself through the power of his friends, people pushing him forward instead of walking alone. And Itachi was honestly pretty surprised by that. Itachi would then ask Sasuke what happened with that Rinnegan and how did he get it. Sasuke would then explain everything about what happened with the fight with Pain and everything that happened after he and Naruto had actually fought against Kisame and him all those years ago. Meanwhile, back at the 5 Kage summit, Kakashi, Naruto, and Yamato would just be about to arrive. As the two passed almost miles away, Sasuke and Naruto would look in the other's direction, with Sasuke feeling a brush of air against him, and Naruto feeling electricity almost make his hair stand on end. The moment would finally pass as if though time had slowed down for a second, as Naruto, Yamato, and Kakashi continue moving forward. What's the plan? Yamato would say to Kakashi. Well, we're gonna be listening out to what the Raikage wants, since this was his summit meeting that he had to begin with. As Kakashi, Naruto, as well as Yamato would arrive, the three would enter into the great building where the host for the 5 Kage was to be held, by the Land of Iron. This would be the point in the story where the narrator would then explain about the samurai and the neutrality between the villages, and the Land of Iron not having a hidden village of ninja. But anyway, you already know about that, so let's keep moving forward and actually get into the 5 Kage summit itself. Kakashi would be taking his seat at the table as the Leaf's representative for the Hokage since Tsunade is still unconscious. Now you might be wondering, why didn't Sasuke just use the King of Hell like he did with Itachi back when he was fighting Danzo and just heal Tsunade while he and Naruto were there? And that'd be because what Tsunade had actually happened to her wasn't mostly physical, it was from chakra drainage and mostly mental. So she was unconscious from her own action in that, and so she couldn't be healed just like that and have her come back, since the backlash from losing all her chakra would still have occurred. Anyhow, back to the story. Naruto would have been given an Anbu mask by Yamato to temporarily wear while they were at the summit, saying that it'd be bad if anyone knew that one of the Jinchuriki of the Leaf was actually sent with the Hokage, since Kakashi was now the honorary 6th Hokage until the village was back in place or Tsunade woke up. Anyway, Naruto and Yamato stand behind Kakashi's chair, as the other leaders from the different villages would soon arrive. Lady Mizukage, the Kazekage, Gaara. Naruto would have been tempted to say hi, but Yamato would have grabbed his hand and Naruto would stay silent, since you have to remember Naruto is much more analytical in this timeline than he was in the original. The Tsuchikage and the Raikage would soon arrive as well. With all 5 Kage now having been successfully gathered together, the meeting could begin. The Raikage would immediately begin complaining about the Akatsuki and Orochimaru's group called Ataka having attacked Killer Bee, and they haven't even found him yet, so the 8 Tails might have been stolen. Raikage would be pretty pissed off, and the other Kage could see this, as the Kage would begin debating about the Akatsuki, as well as what they're going to be doing about the situation. Multiple other nations have already had their Jinchurikis taken by the Akatsuki as well. Naruto would actually stiffen up when he heard this, but he would then calm back down, as he decides to take this information in mind for later. As the Tsuchikage begin to criticize Gaara for losing the One Tails, wondering how he was still even alive, all the Kage begin to fight, which was pretty much expected from Kakashi, Yamato, and Naruto's conversation from earlier. Kakashi would be pretty much quiet, just sitting there, thinking as almost a bubble would begin to form, almost falling asleep. The other Kage would suddenly snap at the Leaf Village's Hokage, as Kakashi would wake up asking what's going on, with the rest of them all beginning to get even more angry as they begin to argue. As the argument continues, suddenly this would be when the samurai leader Mitsune would come in and tell everyone to stop, saying that they're supposed to be Kage, leaders of their nations, and try and calm the situation down. However, as he would say that, something suddenly began to phase through the floor, as we see a man with an orange mask and a red cloak with clouds on it begin to laugh, saying, "Yes, you would think that the leaders of these villages would be wise, elders, people with actual experience knowing how to run such a village. But no, look at them, arguing like children. That's a member of the Akatsuki. The Raikage would say this as he enters his lightning cloak, then jumping up and be ready to attack the masked man. The Raikage's guards would hold him back, telling him not to intervene and not to put himself in any danger, as Naruto would then ask Kakashi if he's permitted to attack. Everyone in the room is incredibly tense, while suddenly the masked man would jump into the middle of the table standing on it, as every attack that people would throw at him would just phase through him. The man would tell them all that actually his true identity is that of Madara Uchiha. Everyone would be shocked as the room goes silent, the air changing. Naruto wouldn't get this as he then asks out loud, "Who's Madara Uchiha?" As the masked man would turn towards the sound of the voice, he would see someone in a cloak with an Anbu mask on. An Anbu member not knowing of Madara Uchiha? How far the Leaf Village has fallen, he would say. Everyone would still be tense, as Obito, Madara, would say that he is announcing that he is now having war with the 5 great nations, and that it'll be beginning any day now. "I will obtain the 8 and 9 tails and fulfill my plan. The infinite Tsukuyomi will become realized." Naruto attacks. He moves forward at lightning speeds, entering Sage Mode and pushing out the wall, causing it to shatter, as he throws a punch towards Obito. Obito would laugh as he warps out of existence, while Naruto would fly through his astral form, hitting the wall, his fist shattering it. As Naruto would turn around, the mask already began to light up, as Naruto is interested by this guy. Obito would disappear as he finishes using his Mangekyo Sharingan, phasing back into the other reality, and is successfully escaping from the 5 Kage summit. "Damn it," Naruto would say. "What's the big idea?" The other Kage would begin to get even more angry, with Gaara not saying anything, already pretty much recognizing who's under the cloak from that action, and also the voice. Kakashi and Yamato begin apologizing for Naruto's behalf, but the moment that everyone was starting to get angry at Naruto, the Raikage would have started laughing, saying he likes this guy, and he wanted to do the same thing. But one thing we do know is that B's alive. The 8-tailed Jinchuriki is still uncaptured by the Akatsuki, which means that he must be out there somewhere trying to get back to the Cloud Village. The Kage would begin to decide on how they're going to fight back and what would be going on with the Akatsuki and what their plan was. They're trying to attack all 5 of the great villages. They must have something up their sleeve, they'd be thinking. Little would they know about the Zetsu, the white Zetsu that Obito had begun work on many years ago. Or would they know that Team Taka and Orochimaru's forces had actually been combined together with the Akatsuki, as Obito had offered them a deal in order to get them on their side. That being that if they helped him fight in the war, then afterwards he would reward them each with their own village, which would cause all of them to be excited. Of course he was lying about this since he didn't explain to them the plan of the infinite Tsukuyomi, so they don't know that he's actually going to put them all in the dream world too. So Obito could get away with it pretty easily, manipulating them. Kabuto would also be working with Obito, just like he had in the original, so the Edo Tensei plan would also be on the rise as well. With their deal being that after the war, Kabuto can take Sasuke, even though Obito hadn't actually obtained Sasuke quite yet. Meanwhile, back at the Kage Summit, we see that the 5 Kage had already begun work on creating the allied shinobi forces, with Gaara being decided as its leader for the main unit that would be fighting the Akatsuki and their forces. As the Kage begin deciding what to do with the Jinchuriki, 8 tails and 9 tails, they decide first after this meeting they'll get in touch, but first they need to actually find the Jinchuriki. Naruto would take off his hood and his mask as he then says he's already right there. Both Yamato and Kakashi would sigh as they facepalm, while Naruto would wave with a blank expression on his face, since his emotions had been eaten by the angel in exchange for her power against pain, so he still didn't have those back yet. But anyway, Naruto would have been accounted for as the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, so they already have one confirmed. That was a risky move, Hokage, to bring one of the greatest weapons from the Leaf here with you. Naruto would then say, as he tells the Kage, that if any of them call him a weapon again, then he'll beat their face in. Naruto would say this without any anger or malice, just almost like a matter-of-fact tone. And to be honest, it would kind of unnerve them, as they're a bit creeped out. Gaara would laugh, actually understanding the sentiment of what Naruto means, as he tells Naruto it's fine, but they really do need to think about what they're going to be doing with him and B, since first they need to find B, and they need to make sure that the Akatsuki cannot obtain their tailed beasts. Otherwise, they would have a whole nother problem of awakening the 10 tails, which Obito had relayed some of that information about his plan during the summit, pretty much just like he did in the original. The Raikage would pretty much immediately head out after they're done with a bit of discussion, saying he wants to find B as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Killer B would be in his own battle, as Kisame would have taken advantage of the Kage being distracted by Toby to try and take down the 8-tailed Jinchuriki while he's alone. So we see Killer Bee fighting now, pretty much almost back to full strength after his little bit of chakra had been lost. That single tail like it had been lost in the original. Now that the Raikage was not preoccupied, he as well as his guards would then head out. Naruto would be following close behind with Kakashi and Yamato to try and find the Eight Tails, aka Bee. As Bee is fighting against Kisame, the loud crashes from the lariat, as well as Kisame using his shark bomb and shark prison, using all of his different attacks, we would see the battle between the two aqua beasts go underway. The shark versus the octopus. As eventually the Raikage and Hokage's groups will arrive, we see Raikage joining on a lariat against Kisame, who would realize as the groups arrive, including the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, that he couldn't take them all on, as Kisame would try and make his escape. In fact, he would do something very similar to what he had done in the original, as he creates a large ocean-like structure using his chakra. He would then create a water clone as he then hides inside of Kisame, condensing himself just like he did in the original to escape. As the group would easily take down the clone, seeing Kisame die. They would honestly think that they had taken down Kisame, as Killer Bee would claim the sword for himself, saying Samahara likes him anyway, as he would take him up saying, "One new sword for me, 1, 2, 3, as he grabs all of his swords. Yes, I'm doing the rapping part too, I'm sorry, but that's kind of part of Killer Bee's character. Anyway, Naruto and Killer Bee meet a bit earlier than they did in the original, with Naruto introducing himself calmly to the Eight Tails, saying that he's the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto Uzumaki. Killer Bee wouldn't be really that interested in Naruto, so their connection would pretty much end there as they just introduce themselves. The Five Nations, on the other hand, would have something different in mind, as they would then decide to send Naruto as well as Killer Bee to the continuously moving island, the Turtle Island, that the Cloud Village is in ownership of. And so in the next week before the war would begin, Naruto and Killer Bee would both be sent to the island. But this time they wouldn't be lying to Naruto about him being sent on a mission, since he obviously knows about the war already. So instead they would try to appeal to his more logical side, explaining their plan on if they can keep the Jinchuriki away from the battle, then Madara would be unable to follow through with his plan on the infant Tsukuyomi and creating the Ten Tails. So it's vital to keep those two away. Kakashi put his hand on Naruto's shoulder, telling him he knows how strong he is. He saw it himself, but they can't risk anything here. Not to mention they don't even know about what Naruto's ability could do against that guy. Naruto would look down before he sighs, saying, "I'll go to the island, but I'm not going to stay there the entire war, Kakashi-sensei. When I sense something going wrong using Sage Mode, then I'm coming out. And then I'll end this misery and bloodshed with Sasuke. We'll take them down together," Naruto would say as he looks up. This would put the thought of where Sasuke could even be in Naruto's mind, which would distract him for some time. As Naruto and Killer Bee would arrive at their lodgings, they would then put all their items that they had brought with them into their rooms before they would begin to get ready for what they'd be doing for the next couple of weeks. At least that's what the shinobi were thinking they'd be doing. Killer Bee, unlike Naruto, was not present during the 5 Kage Summit and has no idea about the 4th Great Shinobi War taking place. And Naruto has no reason to really tell him, and at this point Naruto's emotions haven't fully recovered yet, so he doesn't feel like he needs to go out now and help everyone fight. So Naruto's still following his logical and analytical side of himself, which means that Naruto and Killer Bee still haven't decided on where they want to be at during the war itself. So Killer Bee would just be relaxing and doing nothing, and Naruto would be exploring the island for some time and just adventuring around. And when he wasn't doing that, he'd be eating or sleeping. Eventually, Naruto's emotions would finally return, as the effect of the Ultra Instinct, completely mastered from the Angel's power, would have now worn off. Naruto would wake up that morning as a new glimmer enters his eyes. "I'm back. That was a long one," Naruto would say, as Naruto pulls himself out of bed and then thinks about everything that had happened while he was knocked unconscious, pretty much. Since when Naruto's personality is switched out of his emotional mode, it's like an entirely different person. Naruto would remember everything that happened in the past few days. There's a war going on. Naruto would activate Sage Mode as he tries to have access outside the wall. But there's barriers. I can't sense any chakra outside this radius. Naruto would bust out of his room as he decides to walk over to Killer Bee's room, as he begins to ask Killer Bee on how he can master his tailed beast, having now remembered the info that Killer Bee is one of the only 2 known people to have fully mastered their tailed beast's power. So Naruto would be interested. If I can master one of these demons inside of me, then I'll be one step closer to my goal. Killer Bee would tell Naruto to buzz off, saying that he's busy right now. Get out of here. Naruto would sigh as he then asked Killer Bee if there's anything he can do to convince him to train him. This would be when Killer Bee would think of one thing, as he has an idea. He would hold his fist out to Naruto and tell him to place it against it, as Bee and Naruto would then place their fists together, B would begin to understand what kind of person Naruto was. Having only seen the analytical side of him those past few days, it's like Naruto completely switched. "You're completely different now," B would say. "It's like you got out of a funk or something." Anyway, B would then take Naruto to the waterfall of truth, and this would be when he would show Naruto what he needs to do to conquer the hatred within himself, in order to purify himself so he can conquer his tailed beast's hatred. Naruto would decide that he'll listen to this guy, thinking that B must be pretty strong if all these people here respect him, with Naruto having heard from the other Cloud Shinobi stories about B when he was younger as a child, as well as the missions that B had taken on. And so Naruto would wade across the bit of water between himself, the waterfall, and a small patch of land almost perfectly spherical, just sitting in the very center of the small pond made by the waterfall. So, as Naruto would then wade across the water, using his chakras, he stands on top of it. Before getting to the island, he would then sit down, just like when he had been doing his Sage Mode training, as he closes his eyes, focusing on the energy around him as he would then almost go into a sleep-like state. Suddenly, Naruto would look up, as he sees something coming out from behind the waterfall. Standing there would be a vision. No, it's real. Naruto would see himself walking out of the waterfall. As he moves, the waterfall itself would begin to bubble as Naruto would be shocked as he sees himself with pure white hair and silver eyes. As Naruto would walk forward trying to talk to himself, the Naruto who he'd be looking at would suddenly be in front of him as he tries to punch Naruto in the gut. Naruto would quickly try and block the attack, but it was impossible. Naruto would fall to the ground as the Ultra Instinct Naruto would continue kicking Naruto into the water, as Naruto sees the reflection of himself versus himself when he enters this state. Naruto would try to fight back, and as he does so, the other version of himself would only get stronger and stronger as he continues to easily beat this version of Naruto. "Is that really all you've got?" Naruto's other self would say as it falls out of Ultra Instinct, with Naruto all beaten and bruised. Naruto would suddenly wake up as he falls out of the dream, falling backwards into the waterfall, realizing that this wasn't going to be some easy task. Naruto pulls himself up from the pool of water, as B would ask him if he's okay, with the other Jonin who had accompanied also watching in a bit of shock seeing Naruto get blasted out of the middle like that. Naruto would pull himself up saying he's going back in there, so he immediately walks back over to the waterfall and sits back down again saying he's coming back in, as he would then enter back into his mindscape, seeing the man that he sees before him, himself with white hair and silver eyes, and ominous heat pouring off his body. "You really never give up, do you?" This other form of himself would say. "We want to kill the villagers. They treated us like a monster. Me. You've been out in the sun for too long. Let's switch again. It was fun beating those pains down," he would say, as a creepy smile would go across his face, his eyes flicking up towards Naruto's blue ones. "Come on, remember what it was like when we used to share, back when we were little kids?" Naruto would suddenly have a memory hit him, as he remembers himself being all alone in his house in the darkness, him feeling nothing. He wanted to be scared, he wanted to cry, but no tears would come, as it was illogical and there was no reason to do so. Naruto's emotions back then were locked off, sealed away, a part of himself completely missing. Naruto remembers those times and they were horrible. It was something worse than death, something being ripped apart from yourself, like your soul being split in two and then thrown to the other ends of the earth. Naruto would then rip out of that memory as he tells himself to shut up. "We're not monsters," Naruto would say. "The villagers accept us now. We save them from pain." "Oh, sure. That's what they say on the surface. They thank you. They give us food and they act kind to us," Naruto would spat towards himself. The moment that the hatred version of Naruto had gotten angry, he'd already begun to fall out of Ultra Instinct, as the emotions were overpowering the angel's power, causing him to fall out of it, which would make him weaker. "That's it," Naruto would think. Naruto would then begin saying that, "Yeah, he's right, the villagers did forgive them already. Now we're the hero of the village." "Shut up! Shut up!" Naruto's eyes would begin to turn red and black, as the hatred version of Naruto would create a Rasengan charge forward. "Just die! It's my turn!" Naruto would catch the other one's Rasengan, creating a shadow clone, as the two would then fight fist to fist. "Now we're evenly matched," Naruto would think, as both would immediately at the same time begin to enter Sage Mode, as the battle would then go to a higher level. Naruto and himself would continue talking, as Naruto would stop fighting just as he was about to throw another punch. Naruto would look at himself, one filled with hatred. This is the emotions that he had bundled up inside himself for years. The emotions that had been ripped away, devoured on by the angel, devoured on by Ultra Instinct for so many years. It's almost like he had bite marks, as Naruto would finally notice on his skin, the teeth, the biting, the clawing from the angel, ripping his emotions apart. You were never there for me, the emotions would say to Naruto, as hatred's form of Naruto would begin to break apart, with himself going almost insane. Naruto would walk forward as the other one would begin to throw a punch. Naruto would take it to the gut as he would then put his arms around himself, saying he was sorry. I wanted to be there, together. I wanted to face those hardships. I wanted to keep moving forward together. But you know how she is, he would say, as we could hear her laughing in the background from the angel within the seal laughing. As if almost on cue though, the seal, both on their stomachs, would glow with a bright white light, illuminating each other. The two Narutos would embrace, as Naruto tells himself that it's okay, that they're not a little kid anymore. They've moved on. They can keep going. Naruto would say to himself that he doesn't need his hatred anymore, but that doesn't mean he wants to get rid of him. Join me. Become part of me again. We need to do this together. Naruto himself, his eyes would turn back from the red and black as they begin to go back to the blue color. You really mean that? Naruto would nod to himself as the two would take hands before he would smile at himself. Yeah, let's do it. As Naruto would embrace himself one final time, he would disappear as Naruto feels all the things he had wanted to feel all at once, like a wave of emotions rolling into him. Suddenly the angel inside of him would gasp, as she would be overpowered by Naruto's emotions for the first time in years, giving him complete control over her power. This is... Naruto would realize, as he finally conquered the emotions inside of himself, this is when Naruto truly unlocks and masters Ultra Instinct. Suddenly inside of the seal, Naruto would appear, as the two Narutos had now become one. Naruto would feel much stronger, as the angel tells him that he can never beat her, one of the rarest summons of the Otsutsuki clan. Naruto would tell her to shut up as he runs forward, creating multiple shadow clones, bursting with Rasengans. Rasengan Wall! Naruto would surround her as he pushes her back into the Ninetales cage. The Ninetales would laugh, saying,
Tsubaki, you're really getting overpowered by this brat? I thought you were stronger than that.
The Ninetales would shriek with laughter as the angel realizes what she's done. She's left her own half of the seal as she's entered the Ninetales domain, from Naruto pushing her that direction. The Ninetales would suddenly say, time to dig into your chakra, as you begin to bite down the angel. She'd easily dodge it, accessing her own Ultra Instinct using her own power. However, when she's not feeding on Naruto's emotions, her chakra is weakened, meaning that Ultra Instinct would not be perfect. Naruto and the Ninetales would both be attacking her at the same time.
It's time to get my own space in the seal. It's not big enough for the both of us.
Tsubaki would then say to the Ninetales, Kuruma, no! But just as she says this, it's too late. Rasengan Barrage! Naruto would slam all of the Rasengans he can into the angel, slamming her against the wall. No, I'll always have a hold over you, Naruto. You can never get rid of me. I'm part of you. I've been part of you for years. Me and that fox were the only people there for you, remember? Remember? You can't do this to me. You can't! I'll be taking your power, angel. As Naruto would then lock away the angel inside the seal, we see the angel's body completely frozen in ice, deep inside Naruto's heart, where he had locked her away. As Naruto in the real world had just accessed full power Ultra Instinct, he now has access to all of the angel's chakra, thoughts, and abilities, as Naruto has complete mastery over his instincts, and he can feel emotions at the same time. Naruto now has access to true mastered Ultra Instinct. The Ninetales would laugh, telling Naruto thanks for getting that annoying woman out of here. I've been dealing with her for years. I'll be back for you, Fox, Naruto would say as he walks away. As Kurama would laugh as the cages behind the seal would then lock. Naruto would awaken in the real world as he looks down at himself, his hair now having turned pure white. His eyes now have risen from the dark blue they usually were to a mix between the white and blue together, giving his eyes the impression of that of freshly frozen ice in winter. As Naruto looked down, his power now having risen to skyrocketing heights. Everyone would be shocked as his chakra levels have skyrocketed because Naruto has now pretty much combined his chakra with the angels. The principle behind how this works is very similar to how Baryon mode works actually from the manga, if you guys know what that is. And basically Naruto combined his own chakra pool with the angels, combining their abilities and thoughts and emotions. That's why Naruto doesn't need to feed off his own emotions in order to access Ultra Instinct anymore, since he can willingly turn on the power himself now. Even with Mastered Ultra Instinct turned off, Naruto's hair will stay white and his eyes will stay that color. since he's basically permanently become fused with the angel and physical characteristics as well. It looks like you mastered it, Bee would be impressed as he smiles, seeing Naruto having gained even higher chakra levels after beating his hatred. I didn't think your look would change though, Bee would say as he now spins around Naruto looking at him. Looking good, looking good. Everyone else would also be commenting on Naruto's new appearance. Naruto looked down to the reflection of the water before he realizes that his hair actually is white. He thought he was imagining it. Now people are gonna say I look like a grandpa. Me and Kakashi Sensei are gonna look like we're related or something. Naruto would sigh as he then holds his chin up saying, "Alright, what's next?" As he pounds his fist into his hand, causing an actual air shock from behind the back of his hand and hitting into a tree, shattering it in half. Oops, Naruto would say. Bee would then laugh, giving him a smile and a wink, saying, now it's time to move on to the actual part where he has to fight the tailed beast, as they would then head up to the temple where Bee himself had trained to master Gyuki. The first part of this step is taking the Nine Tails chakra and fighting it. Bee would explain how he has to balance his chakra with the Nine Tails, and that until he can assert dominance over the Nine Tails, he won't be able to master its chakra. Naruto would gulp and nod, saying, this is going to be the second task that I must complete if I'm going to be able to go out into the war. Naruto, now having gone back to his full senses, knows that he has to fight in the war, but he wants to protect everyone, so if he's going to do that, then he's going to need both the Nine Tails and the Angel's power. As Naruto would gulp as he sees the stone mask, Bee would tell him to stick his head inside and try and look for a switch to see if he was pure of heart, and if it didn't, then it would bite his head off. Naruto would do it, and he'd pull the same prank as he would in the original, with him coming back out and Yamato being shocked, with Yamato seeing Naruto then coming out from the statue and not having a head, causing him to freak out. He's dead, Yamato would be thinking. Naruto then pop his head out saying, just kidding, as Yamato would basically faint. Suddenly a door would open to a strange white room. As Naruto enters, he feels all of his sensory abilities completely vanish from the outside world. This place is different. Bee would nod, saying that it sure is. This is where he has to master his training with his tailed beast in order to become a full-fledged Jinchuriki like himself. Naruto would then enter the room as he would then follow Bee's instructions again, with Bee explaining to him what he's going to need to do. Another difference I think I mentioned before is that in this what if is that Naruto never had to use the Nine Tails power against pain, so when Naruto was fighting pain he purely relied on Ultra Instinct, making it so that Minato's chakra hasn't been released from the seal yet. So Kurama's chakra is still loose, Minato hasn't resealed it, as well as the fact that Minato hasn't even met Naruto yet. So Naruto and Minato's interaction hasn't really happened, which as you could guess means that Kushina would be the first one to meet Naruto in this timeline. As Naruto calmly enters that meditative state, the Nine Tails chakra began to flow over half his body, causing one of his light blue eyes to turn red, as well as his hair now be covered with the orange chakra over the white, causing it to have a nastier look of the mixing of chakra, one of primal power and one of the angelic power. Naruto would re-enter the seal as Kurama would turn around, asking what that brat wants. Naruto would calmly walk forward. Kurama would notice he says that he looks different. Just because you got a makeover doesn't mean you're going to be able to beat me though, Kurama would say, as he would screech. Naruto would calmly look up towards the Nine Tails as he narrows his eyes, his pupils directly locking out the red Nine Tails, as Naruto would then say he doesn't need to beat him. I'm just going to take your power. Kurama would roar, saying, try it, brat, as Naruto would then unleash the seal. As Naruto begins to unloosen the gate just a little bit, the Nine Tails would rip out of it as the gate rips open. At this point, another chakra would try to grab the gate and stop it, but then a red chakra, seemingly out of nowhere, would grab the yellow one and return it back with it, as the two would then combine. Naruto would then be left alone to fight the Nine Tails, while the two chakras would intermix for a bit. This would have been Kushina stopping Minato's intervention, saying that this is different, and that Naruto has control over the Nine Tails this time. He unleashed that of his own free will, and to just watch the fight. Minato and Kushina would actually be able to catch up for the first time in a long time, and the two be happy to see each other again. Back to the fight, we see Naruto as he prepares to fight the Nine Tails. The Nine Tails would immediately begin to create a bijou bomb, as Naruto would stand as he begins walking forward, driplets of water vibrating off the surface of the seal, the stone having this little layer of water over it just like it did in the original. As Kurama would release the bijou bomb, blasting it towards Naruto. Instantaneously, just as the bomb was about to hit Naruto, we see time almost slow down, as time around Naruto would cease to move. The bomb stops moving just short of Naruto's face, as Naruto's eyes flick up towards it, seeing a reflection of himself in the bomb. Naruto would quickly create a smaller Sengon, as he would then skid over the bijou bomb itself, landing on top of Kurama's head in an instant. As time would then resume itself, Naruto's perspective at least, Kurama would be shocked as Naruto just disappeared in a flash of white light. As Kurama would then look upwards, he could feel something as he sees Naruto sitting on his head. "What's up, Fox?" The Ninetales would then ram its head into the ceiling, and just as it was about to do so, time would stop again for Naruto, as he then gently slides down the Ninetales' neck to the floor. The Ninetales would headbutt into the ceiling as it says, "Ugh!" as it then falls down to the ground, having hurt itself. Kurama would roar, saying he thinks that he's real funny, don't you, kid? Naruto would laugh, saying, maybe a little bit, as Naruto would then create multiple shadow clones. Alright, let's get this over with. Naruto would begin powering up, his Ultra Instinct would then overlap with each other, creating a large aura, as Naruto would then create a massive Rasengan. "You're going down, Kyuubi!" The Ninetales would roar as it tries to make multiple Bijou bombs and begins blasting at Naruto, as Naruto runs with his shadow clones, dodging every attack, every slash from Kurama's claws easily. He would slam the Rasengan into Kurama, using white energy from Ultra Instinct, making it even more effective as he uses the pure Otsutsuki chakra from the angel. As he beats down Kurama, Kurama would begin to look thinner and thinner, as Naruto would suddenly have a link between their chakras between them, as Naruto began pulling. "What is this?" Kurama be thinking, as Naruto's chakra be easily overpowering Kurama's, using himself and the angel's power. Kurama would have his chakra stripped away, as he would then be resealed behind the bars, saying he will get him back for this, Naruto. As Naruto would suddenly begin to fall into a cloudy place. Naruto would land as it feels soft, as Naruto would now have entered a new mode. This new chakra mode, that of the Kyuubi's power, combined with the angels, silver and gold together, would create something new. Mastered Primal Instinct, as Naruto can now use the full power of the Kyuubi's speed, strength enhanced, plus his and the Kyuubi's instincts combined with Mastered Ultra Instinct. This power gives Naruto an unmastered speed, making it seem like time can almost stop for him, as Naruto is probably the fastest shinobi to ever live at this exact moment. Suddenly Naruto hears the voice of a woman, as Naruto turns around a bit shocked. We see a lady with red hair sitting next to a man of blonde. That's the fourth Hokage. Then there's no way you're not the true form of the Ninetales, are you? Naruto would be shocked, pointing at the lady. Minato would laugh and Kushina would get angry, as the two would stand up saying that no, she was not the true Ninetales form. But Minato would then say it was a pretty good guess. Kushina would punch Minato, telling him to knock it off. Not in front of Naruto. Naruto would be a bit surprised. He asked, how do you know my name? The two would then look at Naruto saying, well, I mean, it makes perfect sense for us to know our own son's name, right? A look of realization would cross over Naruto's face, as for a split second he would see something, a parallel world in his mind. A mind where he had been with these parents, these people who could have raised him, and they would have been a happy family. Naruto would walk forward as he then embraces both of them, pulling into a hug, asking what happened to them. As the two would begin talking, all three would begin talking about their past and what happened that night on Naruto's birthday. Kushina would explain the Ninetales and everything that occurred on the night of the attack in the village, and Minato and Kushina would talk with Naruto for what seemed to be hours, as Naruto would ask them so many stories as the three would finally be together as a family. Their time was running out though, as the two's chakra was about to drain. The two would say how proud they were of Naruto, seeing how strong he was. Minato would compliment Naruto, saying he might be even faster than he is with his flying Raijin technique. Naruto would have a tear streaming down his face as he thanks both of his parents. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Naruto now knows that he is the son of the fourth Hokage, and he has even higher standards that he wants to live up to. He wants to be a better Hokage than even his dad, and he wants to be as cool as his mom too. Naruto knows exactly what his parents are, who his past is, and he knows now pretty much all the information that he needed to. He's gained most of the goals that he's ever wanted. He's finally mastered the two powers inside of himself. He met his parents, he knows his past. All that's left is to become the Hokage, and he wants to end this stupid war as fast as possible. As Naruto is finally released from the seal, Naruto will wake up in the real world with actual tears streaming down his face as he enters his KCM Primal Instinct, combined of Ultra Instinct and the Kyuubi's Chakra mode, creating a white cloak of chakra around his entire body. Just like with Master Ultra Instinct, this cloak would have flecks of light and bits of blue particles coming off of the cloak itself from the angelic power. But when Naruto gets up, he looks completely different, now being completely covered head to toe in chakra. B would be impressed as he tells Naruto to test out his new speed, and Naruto would wipe away his tears as he says, yeah. Naruto would bound around the room, moving faster than light speed, as B would be impressed, whistling, saying, that's a lot of speed and power, man. He would say he might even be faster than Bro now. Bro? Oh yeah, the Raikage. He's my bro, you know? Naruto would smile, seeing the image of Kushina and Minato that he burned into his mind. Yeah, I do know. Alright, B, let's get out of here. I'm tired of hiding that info anyway. B would be questioning this. What do you mean? Naruto then explained to B that actually while they've been stuck in here working on Naruto's training with the Nine Tails, out there, the war's been happening. Why didn't you tell me that sooner, B would be thinking. Why didn't the Raikage tell you, Naruto would be thinking, as he didn't even know that B didn't know this information, and it's not like he would have asked. B would have been shocked as he would then tell Naruto to explain everything to him, with Naruto telling him all about what happened at the 5 Kage Summit from what he remembers, with the Akatsuki declaring war. You're right then, we gotta get out of here. We can't be wasting any time, people could be dying, yo. Naruto would nod, saying he completely agrees. He really wasn't in the right headspace back then a few days ago, but he's back now at 100%, as Naruto pounds his fist again into his hand. Let's get out of here. As Naruto and B would exit the room, several Jonin would then arise, saying that they can't allow the two to leave and to get back into the room. I don't think so, Naruto would say. I'm not going to hurt any of you either. B, take my hand. B would hold his fist up and Naruto would do the same as they lock fists, as B and Naruto would then go. Naruto, using his intense speed, would blitz past all of the Jonin with just a flash of light, as B wouldn't even know what happened, as it's almost like they teleported. Naruto would sigh, saying that was fast, as he cracks his neck. B would say yeah, as they look up, looking towards the sun. There's several barriers around here, I can tell, Naruto would say. Then let's bust out of here, B would say. The two would agree, as they'll take turns using different Bijou bombs, Naruto beginning to master the technique from the Kyuubi. Alright, B, you go first, I'll watch. B would transform into 8 Tails as he then shoots a Bijou bomb towards the wall, shattering one of the first barriers. Naruto would go next as he decides to enhance the Kyuubi bomb with some of the Angel's chakra, turning the usually black and red energy ball into something of pure white with silver and black specks in it. As Naruto slams this version of the Bijou bomb into the wall, it would keep moving forward and forward faster and faster, like a meteorite, as Naruto shatters 4 barriers before the chakra dissipates. Ultra Instinct sure is something, Naruto would say. B and Naruto would easily rip through the barriers as they all escape outside of the island and into the real world. Naruto doesn't even need to enter Sage Mode anymore in order to sense nature energy, since now that he has Ultra Instinct activated pretty much all the time, Naruto would be able to sense the energy in the air in order to be able to dodge attacks such as that. Naruto could sense the emotions, the pain of everyone, as using Kyuubi mode he can sense those as well, the senses of hatred. Naruto with these combined attacks would know exactly where everyone is, telling B the plan. I'm going to create some shadow clones and send them to different battlefields. We're going to have to split up, B. Trust me. Naruto could sense something with extreme malice on the battlefield where Gaara was. I have to head there myself. Naruto would then ask B if he could take care of the Seaside group, since the 10 Tails would be attacking there most likely next. At least that's what his instincts were telling him. Naruto and B would then split up as they nod, with Naruto sending shadow clones to the other areas, each of them moving faster than light speeds, and Naruto arriving much quicker than he did in the original. Naruto would be the first to arrive, the real Naruto, at the site where Gaara and the main forces were. This would be where the Raikage, the third Raikage I should say, would be fighting. The one who was known to be almost indestructible from everything, and had only ever known to have a single wound and almost die from when he was fighting the 8 Tails. Legends had said that he had fought for 3 days straight without passing out, to allow his entire troops to escape. This guy's tough, Naruto would think. As Naruto would arrive on the battlefield, every shinobi on the entire area could feel it, Naruto's presence as they turn, seeing the flash of light, as Naruto's white Kyuubi cloak and Ultra Instinct mode would pierce everyone's senses. As Naruto lands next to Gaara, he would ask him what they need to do, with the Raikage still ripping through their forces. Can you? Yeah, I'll take him out, Gaara. The Tsuchikage as well as the Kazekage would focus on the past Tsuchikage, while Naruto himself would go after the third Raikage. Naruto would take him out in an instant, as Naruto, without even needing to use his own fingers against him, could use Ultra Instinct to find the single weak point the Raikage had, the exact spot where he had pierced himself all those years ago. As the Raikage charges at Naruto, Naruto would easily dodge his attack, as he then takes his hand without even covering it in chakra, and pierces it directly into his heart, with pure physical strength, taking out the third Raikage. Someone get him sealed now, Naruto would say. He won't stay down for long. Seemingly on cue, this presence that Naruto had been feeling would suddenly arrive, as a wooden box would begin shaking from atop a hill. You already know who this is, as this person had caused rumbles in the shinobi world itself, years and years ago. This man, Naruto's eyes would fluctuate as he can sense danger coming from all sides. This guy's strong. No, he's more than strong. He's unstoppable. Naruto would smile, saying this might actually be a challenge, as Naruto looks up towards the box as it falls over, him seeing someone standing there, that person with red glowing eyes and long dark hair, being that of Madara Uchiha. Madara with his Sharingan would easily spot Naruto, as already being the largest threat on the entire scene of the battlefield. Madara would say that he'll take out the strong one, while you can focus on the weaklings. The Tsuchikage would not, as well as the Mizukage, as the two would both go after the rest of the allied shinobi forces, having not been sealed quite yet since Naruto's arrival was unplanned this early in the actual timeline. Madara would arrive onto the field as he begins running towards the allied shinobi forces, particularly Naruto. Almost in a flash, Madara wouldn't even be able to track Naruto's movement. As Naruto appears, barely as a flash, you could see a blur of him. "This guy's good," Madara would say. "It's even hard to track him with my Sharingan, and I'm one of the most advanced of the Uchiha clan. His movements are so unpredictable, but so are mine." Limbo mode. As he would decide to use a limbo clone against Naruto to try and kill him immediately, Naruto's body would move on its own, dodging out of the way of an invisible attack. What the hell? Madara would be shocked. He's never seen anything like this before. Someone without a dojutsu is able to see limbo mode, and not even with a Rinnegan? That's impossible. How is he'd throw more attacks with limbo mode? It's his body. It's moving completely on its own, independent of his thoughts. That it's incredibly powerful. If any clan ever had a technique or a Keke Genkai like that, I would have heard of it back in my era. Is it something new? No way. This has some sort of power laced with it else as well. This is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Excellent. If I can take him down, then we can fulfill the infinite Tsukuyomi plan. I'm going to have to go all out. Susanoo. Madara would access his full Susanoo using his Mangekyo Sharingan, as his body wouldn't be up to strength as much as it used to be since he's still an Edo Tensei. But if he had his real body, he didn't even know if he and Hashirama together could take this kid out. Naruto would look into Madara's eyes as he says, "You're dead." Suddenly, a wall of Rasengan would begin to form out of nowhere from under the sand as it begins to pelt and surround the Susanoo, crushing some of its bones as Madara would be fighting back. The two's battle would be legendary, as waves of chakra, majestic destroyer flame jutsu, dodged, Naruto throwing a Biju Dama towards him, as Madara blocks, slashing in half of his sword, as it clashes into the sand, causing explosions. The allied shinobi forces would be impressed and watching in both awe, inspiration, and horror, seeing Naruto's battle against Madara, while they themselves fought the other two Kage who had been resurrected. Both Madara and Naruto would then enter into a taijutsu battle, as the two are throwing punches and kicks faster than anyone can even see, as Madara is barely able to keep up with Naruto's attacks, blocking and trying his best to dodge and attack back. Naruto is easily able to dodge most of Madara's attacks, but one of them would actually barely hit him, as Madara would lace his own fist underneath, covered again with some of the Susanoo, acting the Susanoo's fist and rib just as he's about to touch Naruto's fist. Naruto dodges out of the way, but he would get skidded just barely by the Susanoo's bone. "So you are tangible after all," Madara would say, smiling. "Then that means I can kill you." "You can try, but you'll fail," Naruto would say, as he throws Rasengan directly into Madara's chest, bursting the Edo Tensei corpse apart, as Madara would then reform, saying that was good, as the two keep fighting together. Madara's immortality versus Naruto's pure speed, dodging, stamina, chakra, and just overly high power in general would be a fight for the ages, as Naruto comes down with an axe blade kick slamming into the sand, causing a burst of dust, almost a storm in fact, to go over the entire landscape. After fighting Madara for around 30 minutes, Madara would even begin to feel himself tiring out, but why is that? The Edo Tensei should still be. Suddenly a snap, as they realize what's going on. Meanwhile, elsewhere we see Itachi and Sasuke having taken out Kabuto together. With Sasuke and Itachi combined using their Genjutsu ability, they would have put Kabuto under their control and would have then deactivated the ultimate power that was the Edo Tensei. Just as actually Nagato would have arrived with some of the other Akatsuki members at the scene, since this would be when Kabuto would have seen that Naruto was actually fighting and almost winning against Madara, which is an impressive feat itself. But now that he was deactivated, the Edo Tensei were destroyed, meaning that Madara would not have the infinite regeneration like he had when he had Kabuto controlling him. Madara would have quickly used his own Edo Tensei on himself in order to keep his soul binded there so he could continue to fill out the plan. But at this rate, if he can't get the Rinnegan soon, he doesn't know if he can even win against this guy. And even if he does take Naruto down with one hit, which sounds impossible anyway, then how else is he going to do it? How could he beat this kid? Could he seal him? He needs the Rinnegan for that. He might have to use a planetary devastation. Would that even be enough? Madara would then decide he'll try something else, as he says, "What about this?" Suddenly a huge meteoroid began to fly from the sky down, as Naruto would watch as the large rock begins to descend towards the earth. Naruto would use 2 long arms from the Kyuubi, extending its chakra as he grabs the rock, holding it up, as then third arm would extend, punching at Madara. Madara would get sent flying back from the attack and landing in the sand, feeling some blood as he coughs it up, and then that blood returning back into his body from the Edo Tensei, but much slower. His regeneration slowing down, Naruto would be thinking, good. Suddenly, Madara would then say, but what about the second one? Suddenly, all of the Kage would appear at once by Naruto's side. Tsunade would have been revived and be back, and Kakashi was now off his temporary duty. Granny Tsunade, you're back! Tsunade would look down to Naruto saying, let them handle this, and that it's time for their generation to settle their messes, as the Kage would hold up the rock with Naruto's aid, as they would then throw it back up into the atmosphere. Naruto would quickly send up huge Rasengan into the sky, shattering the rocks into pieces. Madara began laughing, saying that they're really all going to gang up on him like this. As if though on cue, suddenly, we see Obito arrive with 1 Rinnegan in his hand. Obito would still be wearing the mask at this point since Naruto hasn't fought him yet, since Naruto was so fast that he wasn't intercepted by any of the Edo Tensei on his way to the fights, meaning that Naruto's shadow clones would actually be preoccupied with other business on the battlefield, taking out Zetsu and fighting at different war sites. Anyhow, as Obito had arrived, he would give Madara the Rinnegan, with the 2 Madaras being in the same place now. I hope you have to forgive me, Madara, but there's been a change of plans. I've had to seal Kinkaku and Ginkaku's chakra inside of the Ten Tails Geru statue. It's become a bit faster than I had planned, but the 8 Tails attacked, and I don't think I could beat him on my own at this point, without any aid from our Edo Tensei. Kabuto must have failed. Madara would nod, saying that's true, and he would then say that this Rinnegan will change the battle, as he would place one of the Rinnegan to his empty eye, asking where the second one is. Obito would then say he doesn't know, saying that the other one was missing. He wanted to know that Sasuke had actually obtained a Rinnegan that had been given to him by Nagato and Konan. He would say he'd taken out the woman, though, that was guarding it, with Naruto remembering Konan had said she was going to be going with Yahiko and Nagato's bodies. You killed her, Naruto would say. We're going to take you down. Naruto and the Kage versus Obito and Madara would begin. The Divine Tree would begin to be placed as they had to speed their plans up even faster than they had hoped for. And as the Ten Tails arrives by using Obito's summoning, the Ten Tails beast would be Naruto's main priority. The Kage would tell Naruto to focus on the Ten Tails, telling him to leave Madara to them. Inside of Naruto's seal, the Kyuubi would be moving back and forth in rage, as Naruto would enter, asking what's going on. Kurama would be growling in fear, saying that Madara Uchiha had taken control of him sometime many years ago, and he hates his guts. Naruto would tell the Kyuubi and ask what his name was, saying that he's learned that the 8 Tails' name was Gyuki on his way over here. So that means that he has a name too, right? It's kind of weird to call you by the number of tails you have. It's like if you called me 6 whiskers since I have 3 whiskers on each cheek. Naruto pointed at himself. Kurama would laugh, saying that is a good point, but he would then introduce himself before he then remembers he's angry at Naruto. You took my chakra. I'm not gonna forgive you for that, he'd growl. So your name's Kurama, huh? Kurama would hiss as he tells Naruto to buzz off and get out of his seal. Naruto would unlock the seal as he tells Kurama that if he wants to fight this guy, then they should really work together. Naruto would hold his fist out, saying he won't take chakra from Kurama anymore, but he has to make a deal with him then, saying he won't do the same to him. Kurama would then be thinking about the Sage's 6 Pass and everything he's seen so far. This boy might be the next old man. He'd think of Hagoromo as he'd hold his fist out, saying, fine. Kurama and Naruto would sync perfectly, as Naruto then acts as KCM2 combined with Ultra Instinct, creating a longer cloak around himself. Sync with me, Kurama! Suddenly, the white fox would emerge, as Naruto would arise in its full Kurama form. This fox, usually in gold, would now be in bright white and silver, the black markings on its back making it appear even darker, as Naruto would be accessing Ultra Instinct in this giant mode. Naruto would tell Kurama that they can do this, as Kurama would roar, saying, yeah, let's do it, Naruto. As they run towards the Ten Tails, the battle beginning, as they would claw the Ten Tails, shooting Bijou blasts at it, and using Ultra Instinct to dodge its attacks. The Nine Tails moving faster than he'd ever thought he could before. With him and Naruto together, they were unstoppable. And Naruto was using Ultra Instinct to its fullest, attacking with every full power directly towards the target's weakest point, as he punched the Ten Tails Geru statue in the eye, which had now emerged into the full Ten Tails but in a weakened state. The Divine Tree would be growing, as Madara would be enraged, seeing that his plan was failing. This isn't going the way we want to. We have to retreat. I don't think so, the Kage would say, as they begin to fight both Madoras at the same time. Tsunade would throw her punches. Madara's Susanoo would be easily able to block it, but it would shatter one of the ribs. With Tsunade and the Raikage fighting together, it was going to be hard for Madara to defend. You guys might be wondering what happened to the scene where Tsunade and the Raikage confronting Naruto and B, but since this version happened much faster, since Naruto didn't take as much time in order to beat the Kyuubi and also the Waterfall of Truth, both Naruto and B would have left the area and gone back to the battlefield without even needing to confront the Hokage or Raikage. So they had already escaped to that point because they were so much faster. That's how Naruto arrived here on the battlefield faster than he could have or would have been able to in the original. As Naruto continues fighting the Ten Tails, it'd be apparent the levels of chakra difference, but Ultra Instinct's speed and stamina, which would have usually been the problem with Naruto not being able to maintain Ultra Instinct for so long, would have not been as big of an issue here, especially since now Naruto has Kurama and his own stamina combined, meaning Ultra Instinct's normal burn on both of their chakra wouldn't be as much. Naruto would be fighting the Ten Tails and would be severely weakening it, and Madara would already begin to see that he's losing. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Madara would decide this is the only plan he can take into action at this point in time, as he would tell Obito to take the rest of them out. Kakashi would arrive on the scene, as well as another two familiar faces. We see Itachi, Sasuke, and Kakashi all arrive, as Madara is just about to absorb the Ten Tails. I don't think so, Naruto would say as he rushes forward trying to hit Madara with a Rasengan. Before Naruto can land the attack, Obito would appear, grabbing Naruto and then warping out of time-space, getting into the other world. Before he could leave, Kakashi would also warp himself using Kamui, as the three would now be in the other dimension. Damn it, Naruto would say. Obito would say he'll be taking the Nine Tails, as he begins to pull on Kurama's chakra from Naruto. Naruto would dodge out of the way of this attack, as he slams a clawed fist into Obito's head, sending the mask shattering and flying away, as Kakashi appears. That's Obito. Obito would curse his luck seeing Kakashi arrive, as the two would begin. Kakashi would use his Kamui to let Naruto escape back to the battlefield, saying he'll handle things here, as Kakashi and Obito's battle would begin. As Naruto arrives back at the battlefield, something strange would have happened. The Ten Tails is gone. Madara's on the ground, and he's still the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. The Divine Tree's gone because Madara sealed it inside of himself to gain more chakra, since he was fighting Itachi and Sasuke together at the same time. And now we see someone else standing there. Someone standing over Madara, as Sasuke and Itachi are bleeding badly, with Sasuke grabbing his arm. Damn it! Who are you? There's no way that you're him, Sasuke be saying, with tears flowing down his face. As Naruto appears behind, he sees a man in a cloak, a black cloak with a strange chakra surrounding him. This energy would be pulsating, and the angel inside of himself, who was sealed in his heart, would begin to quiver with fear. Naruto would be shocked as he looks down at himself, seeing his chakra almost shaking. As Naruto looks up, the man would be carrying with him a golden scythe. And as he turns around, we see lightning coursing over his body. As the man would look up, as he deactivates his Rasengan, we see three whiskers on each side of his cheek, and both eyes looking different. As this man's ki it's godlike. This is... Who are you? Naruto would ask, as Naruto's are prepared to attack this man. The man of blonde hair and bronze-like skin would throw the cloak off of himself as he carries his scythe piercing into the ground. This man would be extremely powerful, as he has the Nine Tails energy coursing through him at an even stronger rate. This man is... Who? No. There's no way you're... The man would smile as he says, Pleased to meet you. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, son of Zeus, the demigod. One of our subordinates accidentally left something here that I should probably be grabbing. You don't mind handing that angel over, do you? Naruto would say. You're me? Naruto would ask, as Ultra Instinct covering his body would peers into this strange, older version of himself. Naruto would smile, saying, yeah, it's a long story, but why did you hurt Sasuke, and what did you do to Madara, and where's the Ten Tails? Naruto would be shocked, as he's never even experienced this before. It is him, but it's not. Demigod Naruto would say that we can do this the easy way or the hard way, as he would create an ion sphere in his hand. Let's get this over with, Naruto would say. Sasuke would yell up to Naruto, telling him, Don't fight him, Naruto! He's too strong! Demigod Naruto would hold his finger up to his lips, telling Sasuke to be quiet, saying he's looking forward to this. Naruto would swipe his hand, telling himself to knock it off, saying that if you really are me, then why would you do this? Why would you hurt Sasuke? Demigod Naruto would look into Naruto's eyes, as he tells him that this world, this entire reality, it's a fake existence to begin with. Can you not see that? Every action you've taken so far has been under the control of a higher-up god. Someone even higher than the pantheon that me and my father have been looking for. Someone who created this entire world, this entire reality, the multiverse, everything. We fast back a few years as we see a different timeline. The end, the final episode of What If Naruto Was a Demigod. Years have passed at this point, and this would be the time when Naruto had become a god, as I'd mentioned, and had attained more power. He'd now begun fully mastering his Rasengan, and as an adult he was even stronger. His scythe mastery over his godly weapon had increased as well, and this is to the point where he had almost become a godlike entity of his world. Hinata and Naruto were beginning to get into a relationship, and this would be when Toneri Otsutsuki would have attacked the planet. Toneri would have abducted Hinata just like he would have in the original timeline, as he had grabbed Hinata and fled back to the moon. This time Naruto would charge after him using his godlike power, as Toneri had access to then having to use Hanabi's instead, since he had taken both of them just in case, knowing that one of the gods was residing on this world. He would know he'd need the best power he had in order to take him down, as even the Tenseigan wouldn't be enough to fight Naruto in his Rasengan mode state. Naruto fighting Toneri would be using his scythe, slowing down time as he slashes at Toneri, almost killing him. "Where's Hinata?" Naruto would say. Toneri would laugh, pointing over there, as we see Hinata on the ground, almost completely bled out, as Naruto would quickly save her using his 6-pass power and his demigod abilities. Toneri would take this as an opportunity to escape to a different timeline using the Byakugan, the Tenseigan. The Tenseigan itself would have taken its own form when it entered this reality, as the two Toneris had merged, this becoming a new Toneri with even greater power. Toneri in this version would have shattered some of his chakra to create the angel summoning, and with this, he would have sent the Tenseigan's power combined with the angel. This would have been sent down to Naruto. In this version, who wasn't a demigod, who wasn't the son of a god. This Naruto would then grow up to have access to the power of Ultra Instinct, an angelic power that was created from the god's abilities. And so Naruto would say, "That's why I have to take back that power and bring it back to the right reality before everything crashes down." "No, you can't do that. You hurt my friends," Naruto would say. "I'm not going to let you get away with this, even if you are me." All Sasuke could do is watch, as Demigod Naruto would teleport himself and Ultra Instinct Naruto to the final valley, the Valley of the End, as he says that he hasn't been here in ages, saying, "This is going to be the best place to fight for us." Naruto would charge up his full power, accessing KCM as well as Ultra Instinct, saying he's not going to make it easy for him. As Demigod Naruto would power up into his 3rd level of Rasengan. Thunder clouds would ride overhead, as Demigod Naruto would tell himself, "This is your last chance. I'm really gonna like fighting with you, but I'm not gonna go easy on you. I wouldn't underestimate a god if I was you." Ultra Instinct Naruto would grit his teeth as he says he's not going to give up, and he's going to do everything he can to beat him, as the two would charge at each other in a brilliant flash of light. And that, my friends, is the finale to What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct. If you guys like this, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what video you'd like me to do next, and thanks everybody for coming. I'll see all of you guys in the next What If. Not yet! I refuse! Naruto and Ultra Instinct would suddenly power up, as you see the white energy covering his entire body coursing, as Demigod Naruto was just about to slit his throat with a scythe, having paused time. That's not the end! I promised that I'd save them all. I conquered my power. I'm going to become the Hokage. You can't stop me! Naruto would slam over Rasengan into Naruto's divine chakra, as Demigod Naruto gets sent flying across the final valley, slamming into Madora's skull, as Madora's statue would fall to the ground. "That really hurt, you know," Naruto would say, as he charges his Rasengan and flashes forward, moving at speeds of lightning, slashing down with his scythe, and cutting time itself, as Naruto is now mastering and using his godly abilities. Naruto dodges this, as Naruto using Mastered Ultra Instinct gets out of the way, barely able to dodge the attack. "I'm not going to be able to keep up forever. I'm going to have to. There's no other way." The two Narutos charge each other, throwing a Rasengan and Ion Sphere respectively. Naruto charges all of the Angel's chakra, all of Kurama's chakra, all of the hopes and dreams of the people of this world. I can't let them die here. Naruto would act as something deeper than himself, as Ashura would push through. Ashura's pure chakra. Ashura, the descendant from long ago, who had finally resolved this issue with his brother Indra. I can't die! As the two's power finally merges, becoming one, Indra's chakra would resynthesize with Ashura's, as Sasuke would finally arrive at the final battle at the end. Sasuke puts his hand on Naruto's shoulder as demigod Naruto be shocked. What the hell? How did you... We see everyone, all the Kage, all of the shinobi pushing Naruto forward, believing in him, as Naruto would create the largest Rasengan we have ever seen, compressing it further and further using Master Ultra Instinct's chakra control. Sasuke would tell Naruto, I've been with you from the beginning. We can do this. We can beat this guy. I know we can. As Sasuke and Naruto combine their attacks, the Rasen Chidori. As the Chidori and Rasengan become one attack, the lightning element that Sasuke combines with the Rasengan, combined with Ultra Instinct, would create a massive spear of chakra, spinning and reverberating like a massive storm. Demigod Naruto would be in the charge with his Ion Sphere, charging godly divine chakra into it, as the two would begin to clash. All the hopes and dreams of this shinobi world, everyone in this reality rooting for Naruto, as demigod Naruto pushes even further beyond. I won't lose! I'm going to save them! We see demigod Naruto seeing back to Hanabi's eyes having been stolen. Don't underestimate us! The power of shinobi, Naruto would say. As Naruto, mastering his Ultra Instinct, his hair turning back to blonde, his eyes becoming back to the dark blue, would charge all of his chakra into this final attack, almost completely drained. Rasen Chidori! Sasuke and Naruto charge their attack directly into the Ion Sphere, as a humongous explosion takes up the entire group. Both Demigod Naruto and Ultra Instinct Naruto, as we see the two lying on the ground. Demigod Naruto begins to pull himself up using his scythe, as he begins cutting through reality, saying, I'll be back. When I recover, I'll be back. You may not see it now, but I'm going to save this reality too. I don't want everyone here to die. I'm not the bad guy here. You must find that Toneri bastard and kill him. You'll find out in 2 years' time. You'll see what I mean. Ultra Instinct Naruto would be passed on the ground, one of his eyes swollen, as the entire shinobi world would have been saved, as demigod Naruto disappears into the void. What the hell was that? Ultra Instinct Naruto would be saying, as Sasuke would laugh, saying he had no idea, but it's okay now. As Naruto would have one last thought ringing in his ears, Toneri Otsutsuki, as the angel inside himself would begin to calm down after seeing demigod Naruto disappear. A few months later, we see Naruto back at the village, his hair having returned to white, and his hair and eyes now returning to that white, frosted look with light blue, saying that was a crazy battle, huh? Everyone would be nodding and saying that it was, saying that was really weird at the end, but the fourth grade shinobi war is over. Girls would be coming from miles and miles away, trying to find Naruto, saying he was a total hottie. Kakashi would be wondering why he didn't get so many girls, even though he had pretty much the same look, as he looks down with sadness, looking at his make-out tactics. Naruto would laugh, saying that today's the day they see him off, right? Kakashi would nod, laughing, saying it actually is, as we see Itachi standing outside the village gates. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would walk to the village gates as we see Itachi with Asaka over his shoulder, saying thank you to Naruto for everything, and Kakashi Lord 6 as well. Kakashi would nod, saying that it was him, Naruto, and Sasuke's combined efforts that cleared his name, and that he had committed many crimes while being part of the Akatsuki, so it was no easy feat. Sasuke would ask Itachi if he's really sure he can't come with him, with his eyes glimmering. Itachi would rock forward as he then flicks Sasuke's forehead, saying, maybe next time, but this journey of sins that he's created has nothing to do with Sasuke, and he doesn't want to take him down that road with him again, but he will meet him again, someday, as Itachi turns and begins walking down the road to redeem himself on the path of the shinobi. Sasuke and Naruto would head to Ichiraku Ramen, as the three would then reminisce, heading back to the training spot where they had first had their bell test all those years ago. If you guys really want to see the next part of What If Naruto Had Ultra Instinct, you'll have to wait until the end of What If Naruto Had Anti-Chakra to see again what's going on in this time, what's going on with the rest of these worlds, and what the hell are with that one weeb's what ifs. Anyway, I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Thanks for coming. Goodbye. It seems it's only going to get more fun from here.